Hi, I'm Greg Jeffers. Please give a listen to this short clip of an interview with Zoe Strimple. She's a British feminist.
Lest we forget women in the West took way too long to get there, but to poo-poo the West and say the only thing about it is that people are still under the shackles of racism is to poo-poo the incredible, necessary and right gains that women have made that are so contrary to almost most other countries in the world.
And here's how I summed up the feminist viewpoint in an earlier. And if you listen closely to all of the femme-sexist arguments, you will find this at their foundation. They wish to relitigate how long it took to achieve the social change they wanted in the post-Enlightenment period. Since the past is unchangeable, they seem willing to settle for perpetual anger, resentment, and a lonely old age. And here is feminist Mary Harrington taking on the government's failure as a father and husband in the home.
But really, if the world is poorer and more dangerous and more unpredictable, and you're a woman and you want to have kids, you'd be mad to try and go it alone. You would be, if the world gets more violent, do you really want to be navigating it without a big, strong guy who's got your back? I mean, that sounds like from the point of view of a world of abundance, that sounds like an incredibly regressive thing to say. But imagine not believing that in a world which is full of unpredictable, violent people who don't play by the rules. Imagine not having a husband in that world. It's a living nightmare. And yeah, I mean, this is really these are sort of precepts. These are feminist precepts for a dystopia that we don't have yet. But I worry about the world my daughter's going to grow up into. And I think just in case, maybe we should be thinking a little bit differently about how we form relationships and what we think they're for. And to me, what that is something like a post-romantic covenant that says actually what we're doing together is, this isn't about what you are to me as a vector for self-actualization. This is about what we are to one another as the foundation for life in common.
It doesn't get much better than that, except perhaps this.
And it's very obvious to me, I'm not going to try and make the case for you, but it's very obvious to me that women don't form men form each other. And they do that in ways that are opaque to me because I'm not one.
I can't wait to read Harrington's book, Feminism Against Progress. I've got it on pre-order, but it is not published in the US until late April. Now let's listen in on Helen Lewis interviewing Jordan Peterson.
So how, when in a system that existed in England until 1918,
why would you even want to look at history like that? Like, what's your goal?
Because exactly. I think the people who don't look at history are condemned to repeat it, and I think that what
are we going to do? Repeat the persecution of women? Do you think that's a realistic possibility?
Yeah, we're sitting here.
How do you see that?
We're sitting here in America, right, where we've just had a 5th judge appointed to the Supreme Court who is now anti-abortion, he's now conservative. I think that abortion rights are absolutely fundamental to women being able to function as full humans in society, and I think that is now under threat in America. I think it is extremely smug and complacent to think civilization has peaked, it's all upwards from here.
Yeah, well, good luck with that, I suppose.
It's a living, right?
So the 800-pound gorilla in the room here with Strimple, Harrington, and Helen Lewis, is that between these three highly educated, well-read feminists, they have one child between them. That's a fertility rate of 0.33 children per woman. At that rate, they will be extinct in a single generation. So whatever they have to say, whatever they think, it just won't matter because there is nothing that can compare in society, in civilization, to the imperative of replacing ourselves, for we are mortal, right? We're all going to perish. And without a future, without the next generation, there's nothing. And there is no one to carry on this torch, and perhaps, thank goodness, but there it is. This antisocial belief system simply does not produce children. And look, I don't object to feminists refusing to have children. That's their decision. But I do feel that American families need to know what their future is. Half of American families will die out with this generation. And much of that I lay at the feet of this deeply antisocial belief system. This antisocial belief system that refuses to bear children and form the kind of relationships that can put the next generation on the ground and continue the project of civilization. But that's enough for me. Thank you. I'm Greg Jeffers for the American Quaker Friends Church.